Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent may have just taken the first steps toward ending the Fed. Now, before we get into what he said and the actions he's calling for, my name is Rick. I hope you turn daily news into daily profits. If that's something you're interested in, make sure you hit that follow button. So Scott Bessent wrote an article today calling for big changes to the Fed. He's even going as far as to say that the Federal Reserve must be relieved of its duties of regulating the nation's banks. But what the heck is he talking about? Doesn't the Federal Reserve just look at market research data and then make adjustments to monetary policies according to that? Well, you see, when the Federal Reserve was first created in 1913, bank supervision and regulations weren't a part of its core responsibilities. But you can see over time, through crises such as the Great Depression and Great Recession, the Fed has gradually ceded more oversight over nations' banks. And so Scott says the Fed now regulates, lends to, and sets the profitability calculus for the banks it oversees, an unavoidable conflict that blurs accountability and jeopardizes the independence. There must also be an honest, independent, nonpartisan review of the entire institution, including monetary policy, regulations, communication, staffing, and research. And so basically what Scott is saying is that over time, the Fed has gotten more and more control over banks because of different situations and crises that have happened in the United States. And he's saying that this was never the point of the Federal Reserve, and we need to do a review because right now they have way too much control and way too much power over what happens not only with the economy, but with banking institutions as well. And he goes on to say that the Fed has overstepped its bounds by taking on banking regulation, and that must stop. And he's basically saying that we already have agencies like the CFPB and OCC who are in charge of bank regulation and oversight. So why are we allowing the Fed to do the exact same job? And he's basically calling it a conflict of interest, saying that because of all of the control that they have, this isn't good for the Federal Reserve or for America. So the question is Scott Bessent taking the first steps toward ending the Fed, or is he doing what's right by simply saying, hey, the Fed has way too much control that they were never supposed to have in the first place? Let me know in the comments.